sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. My opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I'll never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I'll never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
Hey, we are back. Season 4, episode 19 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up.
Yeah.
I am your host, Kyle Mocha, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you're joining us live, if you're joining us in the future, which right now nobody's with us live, so you are all listening in the future if you are hearing this. Thank you for joining us in the future, whether you're listening to it on iTunes, on YouTube, on Spotify, anything like that. We are also on Stitcher. That's the only other thing like that I was, I guess, meaning by that sentence.
Yes.
Either way, thank you so much for paying attention to us. We really need your attention.
Yes, thank you.
We are whores for attention. We need it to survive.
Yes.
And
why else are we here, dude?
Like why are you not giving it? You know? Give it. All right. So I am joined, as always, every week by Mr. Justin Olimpado. How you doing today,
dude?
brother?
I'm good.
Nice
been a good day.
Break for us. We had 2 weeks off.
It's always
3
weird.
weeks since the last show.
It's always weird when that happens because it's like the first week is like, okay, cool, we got a break.
Nothing to do. And then the second week you're like,
shouldn't
we be doing something now? Yeah.
Like the creative juices start coming back, and it's like, fuck, I want to be doing that.
We could eliminate one of those weeks if we wanted to in the future, or we could just grasp onto the creative juices flowing, probably make it a little bit easier for us to come back and try to knock some more music out of the park, especially with what we are working on right now.
What did I say? This is a hell of a song to come back to.
Yeah, you definitely said this is a hell of a song for us to come back to after break.
Yeah.
We are returning to Captalan. We are going back to that wonderful, magical world of Captalan that we explored last year in our Rubbish, the Garbage Man Epic EP.
If you haven't listened to that without tooting our own horns, there's a lot of things that I go back and I'm like, oh shit, how did I do that?
How did that come out of that? Especially knowing that a couple of songs we spent a little bit more than 3 hours on, but for the most part, all the songs are in 4.5 hours or less.
Yes.
And we went really hard on
we didn't do anything beforehand.
What do you mean beforehand?
Like
no
previous days.
Earlier days. It was still all that day.
It was all that day, but sometimes we started at 3 o'clock.
The only thing that we've been doing is working on our stories a little bit because these are a little bit more important. And that is where Mr. Zachary is right now. He is currently still working on the song.
And I mean, to put into perspective, we walked downstairs. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to go sit in the air and
Yeah, like 8:15, we pretty much were done
like
with
set
like
up.
vocals. 8:20, and we were setting up down here, and we go live at 9. And Zach had to do all of the bass, all of the guitar solos, all of the mixing, all of the mastering.
And I think he said piano, so
he was trying to add piano to it. He did want to. So he is currently still working on that. He is still working on that. So Zach will be with us shortly, I guess. Who knows? Who knows when he'll ever get here. But he is still working. I still can hear that click track going off in the background. And you might be able, if you listen closely, you might be able to hear him playing around.
Maybe.
All right. So this week we got a really awesome single that we're going to be playing for you guys. Another single from Dope Panic. This is our third. It's going to be Alicia. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. This song is a lot more in the late 90s rock feel, for sure. It's definitely got that alternative rock feel. So really stoked to get to that.
Right.
And then the other big thing that's kind of been going on the last 2 weeks for me personally is the yellow phase into the green phase.
Yes.
Pennsylvania, we are now in the green phase. And what that means for bars and restaurants is now you can have some people inside. You can have some people inside. Now, the yellow phase, we weren't allowed to have anybody inside. All of our tables were outdoors, and it helped that we got really nice weather. It didn't really rain too much over that time period. But Friday, we officially opened, and now we've actually had people sitting at our bar. And we have a bar that usually fits about like 20 or so people
size.
across, like from side to side.
Since they extended the bar.
Oh yeah,
what a bad
they
time.
really only added like one chair, but it's still added. But now it's the way we have to set up is you have 4 people here, and then you have to have 6 feet, and then you can have another 4 people, and then you have to have 6 feet. So we can fit 12 people across our bar, and we can in the entire interior we can only fit 6 tables in the actual inside. So we still have all the tables outside, but it was really nice. I went like a week and a half ago or so. I went to Floyds, and everybody they're still telling you, and you should call me a sheeple if you want. Wear your fucking mask.
Well, I was just about to talk about that.
Yeah, like, the mask thing is getting to be like. People are like, it's like a stance of like it's taking away my personal freedom or something like that. But the idea is supposed to be I'm doing this just in case they're right.
Yeah.
And if they're right, then I'm helping, and it's good. And if they're wrong, I saw a quote that somebody put up. The quote was basically like, if they're wrong, I've been walking around with a piece of fabric on my face.
I mean, what and what is the really, like, I don't like wearing them. I've talked about this plenty of times.
It sucks.
It sucks.
I've been wearing them at work, running around outside, serving tables, and running the front of house, and I'm outside sweating, and I have a mask on, and...
Well, at least when you go to the store, it's like, I'm going to walk in here, you walk in, you're like,
out in 10 minutes.
Fuck it, I want to get the fuck out of here because the weather sucks.
Yeah.
Or not the weather, but having the mask sucks.
Having the mask...
Now, are these same people that are bitching about having something on their face when winter comes and they bundle up to fucking block the cold? Or are they going to be bitching about the cold?
People that complain about being cold until it's warm, and then they complain about being warm. Yeah. There's people that like to complain, I feel like.
I mean, I had a lady, I walked in, I was telling you earlier, I walked into a Dollar General, and I would, I have like it was a sleeve that I bought from Home Depot for people, for cold weather, for like flaggers and stuff like that. Okay. Like, it's meant for construction and stuff like that. But outside. I just wanted to get something that was adjustable by like a string that's already in it. And then it wraps around my whole face, and
it
doesn't move
in the winter to keep you warm. I did a mock version of what you have. I saw your sleeve, and then Chris Gavalis actually had one that he got as well, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I took a shirt, like the lightest fabric.
Well, that's
shirt
how I first started out.
I didn't want ever again. And it was this Pink Floyd shirt that I bought for one of our intros last year.
What's up, Slacky?
Slacky in the chat. What's going on?
That's how I first started out with it, and then once I did it, I was like, "Oh, this is what I want." I don't want to have to wear it, because then I also had to wear a mask one day, and I'm like, "Fuck this shit!" Like, it doesn't fit. It's not right. Well, so I walk into the store real quick, and the lady immediately, as soon as I walk in, she's like, "You can take that down," and I was just like, "Huh? Like, you're talking to me?" Yeah. And she's like, "We're in the green phase. You can take that down." And meanwhile, she had the mask. She had a mask
as a chin strap.
It's the way to wear it. I look at her and I'm like, "It's not. It's for everybody's protection." And then I keep going. She's like, And she like looks, and like I'm thinking as I'm walking, I'm like, oh, maybe she thinks that I have something. Sure enough, I start walking up to the counter, and she starts putting it on. And I was like, look, you don't have to put the mask on. You have a piece of fucking plastic right here. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Plastic pieces are kind of funny though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm like
directly, it's a sneeze guard, but other than that.
But I told him,
things can get around plastic.
But I was just like, look, I don't have anything. At least, I've not shown signs of anything. Who the fuck knows? But I'm just doing it because one, I've been doing it, and I just feel it's weird at this point that this whole fucking thing has been going on, and now we're just like, it's warm, fuck it.
Yeah.
Everybody's
mad about it being warm.
That's
why I went and tried to make one out of the softest fabric shirt I had. And like I was saying, it was a Pink Floyd shirt I bought for one of our intros we did last year.
Son of a bitch.
I cut it up, and I was trying to make it so the mask had the Pink Floyd logo, but I cut it up terribly. So then I took another piece of it. I took a longer strip, and I actually took out my sewing kit, and I sewed it up.
Right.
And I made it a little sleeve. It's the one I was using earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fine.
Put it over my, head and everything. It was a little tight or whatever, so I stretched it out a bit. And I'm sitting there and I'm putting it on, and I realized I could have just cut the sleeve of the shirt off.
Yeah.
And saved my hassle of all. It's the exact same. I did that. Then I ripped the sleeve of the shirt off.
Right.
And I didn't do it cleanly, so I didn't wind up using it. But I ripped the sleeve of the shirt off, and I put it on, and it was the exact same size. Yeah. I really like wasting time on things that don't need time to be wasted.
Yeah, but I'm sure it kept you busy.
It did. Another thing that I've been thinking about, I was actually discussing it with I think I was talking to Keith, my brother Keith, about it. I realized that I have spent a lot of my time in my life, a lot of my free time, whether it's when I used to commute to work and I was driving everywhere, or whether I was, just sitting in my room bored, or I was drunk or intoxicated, inebriated in some way.
Right.
Wasting a lot of time and energy trying to perfect this Morgan Freeman impersonation and this Keith David impersonation. Two very, very wonderful, well-respected black actors that I will never, ever in my life ever be asked to impersonate for appearance reasons. And also, there's somebody else out there that can do it that's, probably just better. And it's just something I've been working on. For literally about 18 years, I've been working on this Morgan Freeman. Since I was 15, 16 years old. And I will say I've probably invested more time in my Morgan Freeman impersonation than any other endeavor in my life for the longest. I've worked on that more than I've worked on playing guitar.
Are you going to do it?
No, because I'm afraid that I've been wasting 20 years of my life on something that's bad, because I've never shown any. I've shown one or two people at a handful of times, and I knew those were bad.
I think you've done it when you were drunk at a party at Rich's.
Yes, I would just start saying, and the way I do impersonations, the way I get into it, is I just start saying their name over and over again. Yeah, just over and over again, just saying okay, I'll try to do. So it come in and be all right, Morgan Freeman. And then you try to pick lines or characters from other movies. So then I just kept going Andy Dufresne. Andy Dufresne was my friend. I am Morgan, my friend. And I got really into it like this. So it's not good. It's not good, but I wasted a lot of time working on that. And then also less time, but close in scope, is the Keith David, who, if you don't know, he's the guy who does the voice of the Marines. He's the few, the proud, the Marines. Yeah. Right. And he also...
he was in Requiem, right?
I think he's in Requiem. He's been in everything. He was on the last season of Community, replacing both Donald Glover and Chevy Chase as the old black guy.
He's done a lot of voice work.
He's on Rick and Morty. Yeah. He's one of the best, most recognizable character actors. He plays cops. He plays villains. He can pretty much
his villains are really good.
He's so intense.
Yeah.
He's so
even for
kids'
intense. Cartoons, you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
And he's got that eyebrow, and it's just ugh. Yeah. And I can't do the voice. I can't do it, but I try. I try way too much to do this voice.
Sure.
And I'm not going to stop. Why would I stop doing it?
Maybe one day it'll click.
Maybe one day someone will be like, hey, anybody in here can do a Morgan Freeman impersonation, you get a free pizza. And I just go, Andy Dufresne was my friend. And
I will take that free piece of pizza.
I will take that free piece of Brooks was here. And just... more spelunking, Mr. Wayne. It's not good. Yeah. It's not good. It's actually
I think it's...
terrible.
What's actually funny about that is you... Yeah. All right. You impersonate another character that is within the Batman universe.
Oh, I do? Oh, yeah, Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
I used to do the Michael... Now, in all fairness, I do... most impersonations that most people do, most impressions that people do, are generally impressions of other people's impressions, all right?
Sure.
What does he say at 9:02? I was still recording.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Bouncing Now.
Holy
Bouncing
crap,
Now.
this song's going to be epic.
Ooh.
But
we also got Missin, who is saying, defacing the Floyd. How dare you?
I'm
I
sorry.
agree.
I was trying to emblazon it on my face, but I cut it literally so where I stretched it, and it only came to here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't. I didn't leave room for hooks.
Right.
And then I tried to stretch it, and then it just ripped, and it wasn't good.
Right.
But, I was doing Michael Caine impression for years. You just snuck into the other camera. That was creepy. I've been doing it for years, but my impression, like most great impressions, not that mine's great, is based on another. Steve Coogan in The Trip does a great Michael Caine.
Right.
It's like Michael Caine. And I have to say his name like 48 times before I can even get to it. It's just like the way to really, they always say is just say my cocaine. What cocaine? There you go, Michael Caine, and then you put this voice, and then you start talking as Michael Caine, and you say things like, "Why do we fall, Master Wayne? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up." And that one I haven't done it forever, and I'm not really that great at it. But I remember being a kid. Whoa, a kitty attack! I remember being a kid and doing that even before I saw the Coogan, trying to learn how to do his voice because I was obsessed with the Muppets Christmas Carol. And he's Scrooge. Bah humbug. It's not good. It's not good. None of my impressions are great. The Bobcat Goldthwait might be that one I found out on accident because I was making fun of Tim Roth in his death scene, and he's like, "I got a fucking bullet in my gut, Harry.
Say the fucking words.
Say the word. I'm gonna be okay."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Wait, him dying doing an American accent
is Bobcat
Goldthwait? Like he's like, I'm gonna be okay, man. Okay, all right. So like, I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna talk. No.
Can we just say how amazing at least the first couple of police academies are?
Oh, they're great. And
taking
also,
him as the villain and then turning him into
into one of
a hero.
The cadets. Yeah. I honestly love him as an actor. I always loved the movie.
What are you doing?
One Crazy Summer. The John.
That's
John Cusack.
John Cusack.
Demi Moore.
Where he ends up in the Godzilla suit.
Yeah, he.
That's the one where they turn the Ferrari into
Ferrari. Yeah, it's Johnny from fucking Karate Kid plays the douchey kid in this one as well.
And is that also the one where he draws and things come to life?
Yeah, things come to life.
I love that movie.
Hoops, man. They call him Hoops, although he's not a basketball player.
If you have not watched that movie, it is like classic 80s.
Classic 80s.
Feels
Demi Moore
like so good.
Demi Moore is it's one of my first the first 80s movies I really clung to as a kid.
Used to be on Comedy Central after school all the time. I
had it on VHS and I would still watch it when it came on TV with the commercials and everything. It was great. But I started doing the Bobcat Goldthwait impression, and then I was like, I wonder what he's got going on in his world, in his life.
Right.
And then I realized that he was a director behind like dozens of like amazing movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The best one of the best ones to me, he did a documentary about Barry Crimmins, who is a stand-up comedian from Boston, who is the guy who took on AOL for the AOL chats for like kiddie porn and shit like that.
Jesus.
So he did a deep dive into that and like a really fucked up story, and that was brilliant. But he also wrote and directed not the most recent movie by this name, but the Father of the Year or World's Best Dad or something like that, the Robin Williams one, where the kid commits suicide.
Yeah. That was him?
The kid dies from autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yes.
That's Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, shit.
Like, he directed that. He created that. Like, the guy is making stellar movies, and he's dropped the cat part. He just goes by Bob Goldthwait now.
Okay.
And he's bald, and he's got big glasses, and he's just cool. He looks like he looks like Paul Simon almost now.
You're right, he does.
Bald Paul Simon.
He also did the voice of the bunny on the Married with Children styled show.
Greg the Bunny?
No.
I remember Greg the Bunny.
What was it? It had there was a redhead as a daughter.
No clue. No clue. Man, I don't know, but I will take this time that you're searching something to mention. Justin's a huge dork with 4 eyes. Look at that. Justin's got glasses right now because he can't get contact appointments, apparently, in the lockdown. Even in the green phase, it's hard to get those appointments.
I mean, the way it worked is they wanted to charge me way too much money for a follow-up. So I was just like, I'll go somewhere else. So,
Oh,
I have no problems.
That's where Walmart used to really come in handy.
The place, I mean, they were great. I love the glasses. They feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be using them more. It's definitely strange. It's There's been a lot of fisheye moments because my prescription, one, I have astigmatism, and two,
okay.
I'm negative 4.5. So it's not like it's that crazy, but there's a pretty good curve. So if I look a certain way,
I'm just blind. I'm just blind as a bat. And there's one person I know that whenever we talk about our ability to see things, there's this one guy who's just a kind of a douche about how good his eyesight is.
The show is Unhappily Ever After.
Yeah. There's this
I can see so fucking well.
This douchebag of a dude who has perfect eyesight and the highest.
I can see so fucking good.
His eyesight is almost better than his credit score, guys. I'm just gonna let you know this.
And it's hard to beat a good credit score, baby.
He's got both. Of them. He's got both eyesight and credit score.
The whole thing about this show is it's very much so a Married with Children style show.
But with a bunny?
Well, the father has.
Oh my god!
To the bunny.
Yes. What the fuck was that called?
Unhappily Ever After.
Oh god! Even the fucking writing is the Married with Children thing. Oh, that's a terrible.
And
rip-off.
the father can talk. That's his imaginary friend. It's a bunny.
And Bobcat Goldthwait,
but he can only talk to them. So like, and the running joke is, like he'll talk about his wife being crazy, and he's like, "Crazy, you're talking to an imaginary bunny."
He is talking to. That would be insane. But it would also be insane for us to not introduce Mr. Zachary Storman. Zachary, real slow to get off the ground there, Pop.
Slacky's saying he's very disappointed he didn't see you at karaoke.
Oh, yeah. Slacky told me to give you a guilt trip, so I just texted Zach. Slacky told me to give you a guilt trip. And then
I
told
said
Slacky,
what I always say.
I gotta work in the morning. I gotta work.
I've been working 7 days.
You've been a fucking madman. I've been back to work.
14 hours yesterday.
But not that
That's
much.
Crazy.
I don't think I ever want to work that much.
I got offered $5 or 5 hours to go back, so I'm in the right direction.
That's going up. 5 hours is more than zero.
5 is more than zero.
I'm working 60 plus hours a week.
And you have Fasaro working under you now.
You're a madman. And you're your own boss now. You're just like moving up in the world.
Officially, me and Nate are business owners.
You are.
We own our own business.
We're gonna have to get Nate in here to interview him on the idea of opening up, starting a business with his brother.
We have an issue here.
What do we have?
We have a protest going on.
Oh no!
Slacky showed up 8 minutes late to protest the fact that Zach was not at karaoke.
Oh, Zach was like 20 minutes late to this show, so I think he still beat you. So
I think is this the latest I've ever been to the show?
Yeah.
This is the latest that you've ever been to the show that we
one.
didn't start later.
Yes.
Because there was a couple of weeks where we'd be like, all right, there's no way this is going to be, we'll just start at 9:10 or 9:15, and we just like pushed it back and whatever, no harm, no foul. 3 people were mad at us.
Yes.
And then they got over it quickly when they got mad at us for just not giving them good content.
I mixed this whole song in 45 seconds.
45 seconds. Is this the quickest mix that you have?
Oh, for sure.
For sure? Wonderful.
Can I just say it was very nice to see everybody at your party, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I had a birthday.
It was really, really
I
nice.
turned 34. I beat Jesus. I'm going for quantity, not quality. So I have beat Jesus on that. All right. He did a lot more.
All right.
He did a lot more.
Yeah.
But I did more time.
More time.
I'm a week older than Jesus ever was right now, assuming the Gregorian
Don't jinx
calendar.
yourself, dude.
Oh.
He might be over there like...
He might be like, motherfucker, calendar was wrong. I was 36. You're dumb.
Oh, I thought
I'm
you meant,
coming for
don't
you.
kid yourself. We're going to kill you at the end of this show.
We're going to kill you at the end of this show.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time I've been threatened to be murdered at the end of this show.
It's true.
I definitely feel like we've done that.
I feel like I did it for like 12 episodes.
Yeah, we're gonna murder you. Yeah. We'll bring that back. All right, guys. Well, every week we like to get together, chit chat, talk about random bullshit that's happened in the world, and also drink.
Yes.
We like to drink. Today we have a couple of just simple beers. One is the Floyds Spiked Lemonade, and one is the Floyds Spiked Iced Tea. So that's just what we're sipping on, and we usually don't talk about the titles of our episode, but that is what our title is this week. I am making Arnold Palmer's in my mouth because I didn't want to grab a cup. I've not. I'm going to do it right now, and then we're going to talk about what we're really drinking tonight.
Well, while we're doing that, I'll get us into what we're drinking.
We drink it so you don't have to. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. What are we drinking? Yeah!
Zach's got Faygo in the fridge, and we're making
Faygo in
Arnold
the
Palmers
fridge.
in our mouth.
Actually, this is really good. Both of these
Both of them are
drinkable.
good.
I don't know if I could drink on like sitting upstairs, just pounding these
Yeah,
down.
no, the
way.
sugary side of things that is going to come back and haunt you in here. It's 12 grams of sugar
for the lemon
for the can, and then 12
for
grams.
both.
So both.
What is a soda?
A soda's got to be
like
more.
depending on like 50 to 70.
Those pictures, yeah, where like those
Like
pictures where they show a can of soda, and then they have like a clear cup that's the same size, and they fill up the amount of sugar that's actually taking up the space in the can, and you're like.
Yep.
Damn, I really like sugar.
Yeah.
But the thing about these, spiked iced tea contains alcohol. Just contains alcohol. There's a little sign, a little thing on the side that says, "Floyds, twist it, pop it. It's time to kick it with Floyds. The best times are never planned; they just happen. Make them happier with Floyds." All right, so we got that. So we're
I don't
making
understand why it says twist it, pop it.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I think maybe is there a bottle version of
there
this?
There might
that we
be
didn't?
a bottle version of it, and they've just been lazy, and they're just printing the same thing on all of them.
Twist it, pop it, flick
Pop
it,
flick
lick it.
So we're
suck
just
it,
sipping on those,
fuck
and then we
it.
do have two others that we picked up. The first one, we got the White Claw
Jeez, we got a lot of
hard
flavors,
seltzer, 70 calorie, 0 sugar. Clementine. Now, the catch with this one, Zach, is it's 3.7% alcohol. Regular White Claw is like 4, 4.5. 5. It is 5. Okay, I thought it was at least 4.5.
Do we remember the caloric intake? Is it
it's
100?
Yeah,
okay.
it's 100. So this is 1.3% less and only 30 less calories.
Is this easier to drink?
Is it easier to drink? Probably. About the same, I would say. But the flavor is what I'm going for. If the flavor of the Clementine is good enough.
This is legitimately. I know you can't really taste the. I know you can't really taste the alcohol, but this tastes like you just handed me a seltzer. And I know that's what they're going for, and I know that's a stupid statement to make.
Oh, I immediately don't like that. I had a weird stink taste on mine. The first sip, it tastes like It tasted like I licked the inside of a Clementine peel.
Yeah,
and got the essence. It's another one of those essence ofs. It's not the real flavor of Clementine. It's like I had a Clementine an hour ago.
There'd be sugar.
Yeah, it tastes like, you know how I eat clementines?
Yeah.
Or oranges. I usually just bite a big hole in the skin.
I mean, that's the first
and
bite
then,
you get.
And then, peel the skin like that rather than use a knife or my fingers.
Yeah.
One
just
real
right
bitter bite, and then you can get the skin off, and that's what this tastes like.
Yeah, I don't know if I could drink multiple of these.
Yeah, no, I don't really. I immediately put that to the far back. I will get to it, but I'm not really.
I mean, it's refreshing. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's refreshing.
These were cold enough. They were refrigerated for at least the last couple of hours. It is.
Why are they making it so light on the alcohol?
I don't know. I
Who
think
is
it's
this for?
For people that want to get away with not feeling bad at noon, I guess.
It's probably also for people that can have two of them, and be under the limit and be totally fine.
Maybe they did a mathematical thing.
This is the drinking and driving drink.
This is. Ooh, okay.
That's literally. I put this in my car and drink while I'm driving to where I'm going.
It's a White Claw Clementine.
It's 3.7%.
3.7.
I could have 10 of these and it would do. No, I really could, but that's going to give me too much burp for what it's given me alcohol-wise.
But I will say it does taste like a straight up, like I just opened up any seltzer, though.
Yeah, it does taste like...
I had the other night, I drank
tastes like seltzer.
A myriad of different seltzers all throughout the day and night.
Okay.
White Claws, Bud Light seltzers, the Michelob seltzers.
Oh, I haven't had the Michelob
some
one yet.
other generic shit. Like 5 different ones throughout the day.
Yeah.
It was They have getting it on.
Oh, hell yeah. Which one was there any one that was the best? At the
end of the night, I was just like, I felt like a fucking, there's a bomb going to go off.
I'm sure.
All of that carbonation
from all
built
of the
up?
different seltzers.
Was the shit you took afterwards, just like one of those, like you sit down and it just goes, pow, and you're done? Like just one
it hit me in the middle of the night. So it was, Sunday night.
Okay.
I worked Sunday morning, and then I drank seltzer all afternoon.
Right. Yeah.
And then I had to work early Monday. But I woke up, I don't know, like 4 o'clock in the morning, just like, here it is!
Yeah, no, that's
it was like
that is a time bomb. That is a time bomb waiting to go off.
How did the Pop Cream Ale go for you? Did you finish it?
Oh, yeah, I finished it. I think that night I finished it. It was
because we finished the fruit cup.
Oh, that one was good. That was
and that was an IPA. It was just a sweet
good.
IPA. It was really good.
I honestly haven't had anything from Wallen Pawpack that I haven't liked. And speaking of other breweries that I've not ever been disappointed by, is Left Hand Brewery. Left Hand Brewery makes the Nitro Milk Stout, which is one of my favorite beers. But this is getting tiki with it, a Pina Colada Wheat Nitro. Now,
good to go from the can, like a
caught in the rain.
It's 7.5% alcohol, 15
There's
IBUs.
nannies on this can, dude.
It's good to go from the can like a pro in the glass. You can choose any way you want. But my problem is...
They ripped us off.
Dude. There's nannies. There's nannies on the can.
No, that's na-na-na. We're... Little nitro pop.
It doesn't smell like coconut, though.
I don't like coconut. I'm trying to push outside of my comfort zone with coconut because there's a lot of things that have coconut in it, and I've never liked coconut. I don't like the texture.
This is really good.
Dude, I love Pina Colada, and I love wheat.
This is really good.
It smells really good.
This is a beer I could drink on a hot day or sitting upstairs, soaking myself playing.
All right, that is very minimal on any coconut flavor. It's definitely...
It's just creamy.
It's a good creaminess. That's what nitro is great for. Adding that creaminess.
You get that coconut hit in the back on the sides of your tongue like you get from coconut water.
This is really
Which
good.
I love.
I don't hate coconut water. That was where I started saying, like, maybe I could go back into this. Not a full coconut
this has a more coconut water feel than a coconut flavor.
And this is a 7.5.
Yeah, that's 7.5. That is an easy 7. I immediately get the tingles from it. Like, that actually hits you. Especially after drinking a 3.7% piece of shit White Claw.
And
I like White Claw, right? That's not me being angry at White Claw.
I have no problem with it.
Just this one.
I went to a bar.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to 2 bars this week.
What? I thought you weren't doing that, man.
Well, I went fishing Saturday, so I had to go to the Mini.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it was for lunch. We sat at a table.
Yeah. Right. I heard nobody's sitting at the bar there. Because,
not at the Mini.
Because
they
have a 12-foot bar. Yeah. Like, you would literally only be able to fit 4 people at the bar.
And realistically, they're probably leaving it open for somebody to come in and buy 6-packs.
True.
But after work on Sunday... Was it Sunday? Yeah. After work on Sunday, we went for late lunch at Carrazza's.
Okay.
In the Mountain Home, the pizza place.
Yeah.
There was 2 old men in there drinking at a table, and the bar stools were up. It was me and Nate. We're like, can we walked in with masks. We're like, can we sit at the bar?
Yeah.
And my brother's friend was a bartender. He's like, yeah, you can sit at the bar. So we sat at the bar, drank at the bar for 2 hours, and ate a fucking whole pizza.
Hell yeah.
No one else in the building. The 2 old men left. We sat there. The bartender had a mask on. The guys in the back had masks on.
Sure. Yeah, to kind of go back to
that. But we were the only 2 guys in the bar.
The green phase was not as big of a hit to businesses as we thought it was going to be. The yellow phase, everyone was like immediately like, let's go now.
I feel like they're not telling you though that
it's been green. A couple of times.
I was getting text messages on my phone saying to stay in the house, wear your mask, do this. I didn't get update that said.
The only update that says it's green was literally because I knew for work that we were doing that, and yeah, I didn't really see too many other things about it out in the ether.
But I mean, what did people expect when you go green and everybody's opening up? They're like, I have to go to work now.
Yeah, well, everybody has to go to work, so people are off the streets. Off the street. People are off the streets. People are off.
The girls are back on the streets.
The girls are back on the streets because you can work again, and some of the boys. But the hey, everybody
whatever
needs
you
money.
like.
Yeah. Everybody needs money, and everybody needs to pay for sex sometimes. Just what Mom always said. And the
love, any kind of love is good as long as you're paying for it.
Yeah. It was something along those lines. I might be paraphrasing. But she never said that. She never said that. I'm lying. I'm a dirty liar. I'm a dirty liar. All right.
You dirty.
Either way.
You dirty boy.
The green phase, everybody's going back to work. Everybody that isn't working is now going, I have anywhere I can go. Yeah. So now people are going to places like, stores
and they were
going
doing
shopping
it in the yellow phases too.
Well, not like the indoor retail thing. I think that pulled people to the crossings.
I think the mall's still closed.
I would hope the mall's just closed. This should if this doesn't put the nail in the coffin for the mall.
We should buy the mall and just live there.
I have had an idea to turn that mall into a bunch of condos and stuff like that since I worked there, and there were just empty stores everywhere 10 years ago.
What I'm going to do, we're going to buy the mall, and it's not Deb anymore, but I'm going to turn it back to Deb, and that's going to be my personal closet.
Nice.
And it's just going to be what Deb used to have.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Can GameStop
Platforms
be...
with, like, fish inside them.
I love that.
Can GameStop be where the shitters are?
Yeah, you can put the shitters
cool.
in GameStop. Yeah, you put all the shitters in GameStop, and then you can turn like anything into like I don't skate, but I always want to
we have
a skate
an
park.
awesome movie theater
Make one
for a
whole
house.
hallway a skate park. It's like a big like thing. It'd be good. And
nice movie theater.
Nice movie theater. Yeah,
for a home.
Well, that actually gets to something that I wanted to talk about. So let's hit up what is happening and get going on with what is going on in the world.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
All right, so what is going on in the world? Like we were talking about, everything's starting to open up, and movie theaters are one thing that has been hit like the hardest as
we
far
went to
as
the drive-ins,
potential futures. Anything that has a bunch of people in one room together is going to be a really hard sell to get open. Drive-in theaters, that's going to be the way to go. I know
it was
comedians
awesome,
like
dude.
Bert Kreischer is planning a tour, and it's going to be at all drive-thrus. Jim Gaffigan's doing a drive-thru movie theater tour as well. Like, they are taking this approach where it's going to be like a drive-thru where you're watching it on screen, but he's actually on stage doing it, and you or tune in on your radio to a certain channel.
The awesome thing about drive-ins right now, at least we went to Becky's, and I mean it's not expensive. It was $10 for adults. You know what I mean?
Do they charge for the kids or no?
Yeah, it was like $6 or something.
And then
like
you
that.
say you got a giant fucking thing of popcorn for like $12.
200 ounces for $10.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? But I mean, we brought
Some
so much
businesses
shit,
you
dude.
get murdered for selling 200 ounces for $10.
Yeah, right.
Or you.
But I mean, the cool thing is right now there's not
one of the two
movies being released, so they've been running
talking
a lot
about
of
pharmaceuticals.
They've been running a lot of old movies, so like seeing Goonies at a drive-in theater was
you saw Goonies.
fucking
what
great.
else did you get to see?
Goonies and the new Jumanji, and then on the other screen they had
Jumanji.
The new Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Whatever. All right, whatever. Sorry.
Wait, is this a sequel to the Rock
this is
one?
the next one with the Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I never saw that first one.
Oh, dude,
they're so good,
funny.
dude.
They
They're
are
so good.
fucking funny. But to go on with real quick with the movie theater things, Poconos Cinema is doing something that we really, really, really need to jump on. We need to capitalize on.
Yeah, we can rent it out.
You can rent out theaters for private screenings of whatever you want to watch for a 3-hour time.
Yeah, it's 3-hour
span,
minimum.
Right? So it starts at $100 for the small one. $100 to rent it out for upwards. I think of.
Let's do it.
I think it's
Let's
35 people. Let me
watch all of the podcasts. Podcasts.
All the yeah. Oh my God. Invite only. So you can get up to 35 guests for $100. You can get up to 50 guests in theater number 3 for $150, and up to 60 guests.
What do you just got to bring a Blu-ray?
Yeah, you bring your own movie, and they'll just play
then
it.
Let's do a fucking movie night for either one Lord of the Rings or two decently small movies.
Yeah, like if you have
I was gonna say
2
Pink
hour and a half
Flamingos.
Pink Flamingos.
You ever see Pink Flamingos?
Like a long time ago,
I've
if it's
seen
what I'm
it
thinking of.
Way too many times.
Is that the John Waters?
Yeah, with Divine.
Yes.
Ugh, classic.
Fuck. That would, honestly, I would do John Waters or just pick another cult classic movie.
Yeah. We can do We do Pink Flamingos first, which is really horrible.
Yeah, fuck
and
it.
then
We'll
Hairspray, which is really good.
We'll just buy it for 2 time slots and be like, give us 6 hours for $200.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just get 32 other people that we like enough.
It's gonna be the 3 of us.
The 3 of us. I'm down with that. That's really not that bad.
For $33, I can rent out the theater and watch any film I want.
Yeah.
Now, do we have to watch something? Could we do our show live from there? Like, can we just start renting the space out for other things? Can we rent out the space and then kind of do like a sublet thing and start putting on shows in there and just be like, hey, we're having a 30-person show. We don't need a movie. We're just gonna play guitar.
Actually, can you put this movie behind us anyway?
I know, it's true. Everybody over that 200 mark is
this is what I would like to do for if we ever did a live podcast show.
Yeah.
I would want us set up with mics and Justin behind a kit, me in front of a piano, and you with an acoustic guitar. and then
we've talked about
not plan at any point. Like you know what I mean? We could just
Justin starts hitting a beat. You just start playing something. And we all just have to jump in.
Or like you're gonna tell us something like, I wanted to talk about
musical comedy. That's what everybody. It's the highest respected form of art is musical comedy. Everybody loves musical comedy, and if you don't, you're a jerk. That's my opinion.
I don't like musicals or comedy.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Are you gonna watch?
But I love music, and I'm funny.
Speaking of musicals, are you gonna watch Hamilton?
Yeah, Hamilton is going to be on Disney Plus. Another thing that is.
I'm going to watch it.
It's the only way I'm ever going to see it.
And so, who told me what it was about? You?
Alexander
I had no
Hamilton.
idea. It's a rap.
It's a rap musical about Alexander Hamilton and Burr. I think. Not Bill Burr.
William Burr.
William Burr.
14th.
That sounds right, but that would be Bill Burr. But it's about the two of them and like their competition with each other, and then immediately following their
duel.
Their duel, so it's everything leading up to their duel.
Yeah, it's just basically tells the story of founding father Alexander Hamilton.
What is the other guy's name?
Is it Burr? What year was this? Did they rip this idea off of epic rap battles of history?
2015.
2015?
Yes, they did that.
Okay.
Inspired by the 2004 biography, Alexander Hamilton.
Okay, so they took the biography and then they rewrote it. But I mean, I don't know if they totally ripped it off or just had like another idea. But
that was the spawn of the idea.
Yeah.
Remember they had all old shit.
Yeah, they went back with all those guys. And,
I don't know if it's still going. Probably.
They do one once every year, and it's never that great. Like it's not really. It's kind of like.
But at one point, it was
Aaron Burr. There we go. It was Burr. Yeah. Bill Aaron Burr. No. Bill
Burr and Lewis Hamilton.
Yes. Now another thing. Just transition right over with Bill Burr. Have either of you gotten to see The King of Staten Island yet?
I have not.
Because
it is on the list for me to watch.
I have
been great.
Only at work.
Yes. So you've not seen it. It is amazing. Everybody in it is awesome. Marissa Tomei kind of steals it. There are great cameos. Machine Gun Kelly has a cameo as like a douchebag tattoo artist, and then Action Bronson has steals the whole movie. I will say, fucking wonderful.
The best comment that I saw about it was, "Hey, look, it's the guy making a movie about all his comedy acts bitching about Coney Island." You know what I mean? Or Staten Island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not really. I would say. I mean, there are definitely
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, they bring up the fact it's definitely a driving force that some people, no matter where you live, and people might think it's shitty, you still like where you live, and
I think they were more referencing him in his comedy
in his own
acts,
stand-up. Yeah,
bitching about how
I don't like Pete Davidson.
Yeah,
but when the commercial came out for that on YouTube. I ended up watching the whole trailer.
Yeah.
I think I texted you immediately. I was like,
this is going to be amazing.
This looks good.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys know, well, living in the Poconos, we all have friends from New York.
Yep.
And,
prideful.
Maybe I have old man friends who have kids that are firefighters in New York.
Yeah.
One of my friends is from Long Island, which is close enough, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It's New York.
And his son is a firefighter in the whole thing. And I saw that and I'm like, oh, I get that. I've met these people. It is
one of the only cities where you will get so much pride for where you grew up. It's not like you have somebody like, oh shit, you're from Stroudsburg, East Stroudsburg. You know what I mean? You got people that are like the fucking Bronx. I grew up in the fucking
always
Bronx.
Been the bottom rung, which is why my parents got us out of there right after I was born.
I don't mind Staten Island.
Staten Island's not terrible.
I had family in Staten Island when I was a little kid.
All of those
really
hills were not there 30 years ago. All the hills, when you pull in, those are all garbage dumps that turned into beautiful looking hills, which is kind of it's a great example of what Staten Island is. It's a garbage dump that something beautiful can come out of.
I mean, maybe if I had to live in New York, maybe
Staten Island's probably it's one of the cheaper ones. They kind of talk about this in the movie, how the one girl's like, we're the next Brooklyn, and the girl who plays his love interest, his close friend that he's an on again off again thing, she is killer. She reminds me so much of Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
It is perfect.
Right.
And then I'm watching it. I was watching it with I was watching it alone, and then Mike was coming out when I was watching it on the projector outside, and he's like, oh yeah, this is great. And then I said, I bet that girl's British. And he's like, what? I'm like, that girl, she's doing this so well. This Staten Island girl, and she's got that voice down perfectly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet she's British. And I looked it up, and she's from England. And I'm like, yep, this girl is what, like, she should get nominated for something for that performance. But Bill Burr, as much as everybody in the movie is great,
he plays the father, right?
No, Bill Burr plays
or the
mom's new boyfriend.
Yes.
And the way they meet is that Pete Davidson's character is a tattoo artist, and he's tattooing his friends in the woods. And he's got, they had the preview, they show like, Obama ain't right, his eyes are all messed up and everything. Everybody that's friends of his is like a sketchbook, and he's just covered them with shitty tattoos. And then all of a sudden, this 9-year-old kid comes walking through the woods where they're like hanging out, and he's like, "You want a tattoo?" And he starts tattooing a 9-year-old kid and puts like a line that big on him, and the kid runs away. And then Bill Burr's the kid's dad, and like he shows up and like flips out, and then finds out that his dad died was a fireman. Bill Burr's a fireman.
Yes.
And that movie was perfect for him because Pete Davidson is covered in horrible tattoos.
Yeah. Oh, and then I saw an interview with Judd Apatow where he was like, the biggest fear of mine throughout the entire filming was that Pete was going to show up with a new tattoo. Yeah. And he was just like, don't get any new tattoos. And he's like, why? He's like, because I don't know when you're going to have to be naked. Like, I don't know when you're going to have to take your shirt off or something. And if there's continuity and you got a big heart here and you didn't have a big heart here in the last scene,
then we have to
reshoot everything. So he had to play a tattoo artist or an aspiring tattoo artist and not get any new tattoos.
It's been driving me nuts.
Not being able to get one.
Not being able to.
We were supposed to all get tattoos.
We also have to figure that out with Dom.
I think it's going to be a little while till he's opened up. Dom Triboli is getting tattoos.
I don't think my guy,
the Traveler.
Yeah, I don't think DC is coming up this year.
That would make sense, unfortunately. Yeah,
because he, I'm in there as soon as he comes in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always.
Speaking of taking trips, you should also watch Have a Nice Trip on Netflix. Please do yourself a favor and watch
Have a Nice Trip. What is this about? I don't know if I've seen anything
about
it.
I'm sorry. Have a Good Trip.
Have a good trip. The thing that
LSD
the LSD mushrooms documentary.
Sting. We watched. I watched
it.
Sarah Silverman, and then they have like acted out parts.
Yeah, it's a documentary about using LSD.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman's in it. Yeah, she's in it.
For like
could turn you off if you don't like Sarah Silverman.
I don't know anything. Like, I don't know about her at all. I just know that when she's in something, I don't love.
Well, you got to go back and watch Screwed, the Dave Chappelle, Norm Macdonald movie from the late '90s, where they steal the dog from the old lady that Norm Macdonald works for. She plays his love interest, or his ex in that. And she's good. She's good in certain roles, but yeah,
I didn't mind her show. I thought her show was great.
Yeah, what, Norm show?
No,
or Chappelle show?
No, Sarah Silverman show.
On her sketch show. I loved her sketch show.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I loved that probably a lot more because it was
Brian Posehn on it.
Well, Dan Harmon created the show.
That
so
too.
It's like, I'm just like, naturally, anything that he's created, I generally
just had so many good things.
Without knowing
I think there was an episode where she was actually tripping in the show and ends up in like a kid's sandbox in her car. And a cop pulls her over.
It's been a really long time since I watched that.
The only media I've been digesting because I've had
radio
headphones on. Well, I listen to the radio every morning, but I've just listened to almost every episode of Revisionist History.
Oh yeah,
Malcolm. I love
Malcolm Gladwell's amazing.
Gladwell. He is so.
He's got a great voice that
you
can just listen to for forever
as
well.
And Michael Lewis. He was a dude. He wrote a bunch of books. I don't remember. He wrote Moneyball.
Okay.
Remember that made that Jonah Hill movie?
Yeah, Moneyball. Yeah, I read that.
He has a podcast too. It's from the same company.
Okay.
From Pushkin, and that's was started. Rick Rubin has something to do with it. That's why I was talking about Rick Rubin earlier.
Nice.
But all that's Malcolm Gladwell, Michael Lewis, like those guys that really do. Their podcasts are just essays. It's just like reading it's so good.
It's actually thought out, well written, and just very, very well executed. And again, a voice that I can listen to for forever. If you have a voice, and I don't ever want to, I don't feel like okay, I'm done. Like I listened to the John Lovitz podcast that he had with Kevin Smith, where it's just 4 or 5 episodes, and they just talk about. It's 5 episodes. And each episode takes him through 1 year on being on SNL.
Right.
And listening to John Lovitz for like 2 days, I was just like, nope, can't do it. Like I can't do that voice that much.
That's why I never really liked The Critic. It was a good show, but
I could take it in that, but I wouldn't be able to binge watch 4 hours of that show. No, it definitely fucking takes it out of you. All right, well, hey guys, that's a bunch of shit that's going on in the world. Our world, your world.
Go to some drive-in theaters.
In, man.
Help
new
people
things
out.
are happening. Yeah, go to the drive-in theaters.
Rent Poconos Theater.
Cinema.
Yeah.
If the Sherman does something like that, I would also be down to rent
Rich is never
the Sherman. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not gonna happen. All right, guys. So this week we have yet another single from Don't Panic. This new single is called Alicia. They're again doing a thing where every 6 weeks they release a new single. This one is definitely more in the vein of like the early or late 90s alternative rock. I listened to this a lot, and every time they release something, it becomes my new favorite song of theirs. And they've just been nonstop all year long, every 6 weeks again. This one came out on June 12th. We were going to play it, but then we went on break. So we're a little bit behind on that, but you can go find it everywhere. You can go to @Don'tPanicJustRock on Instagram. They're on Facebook and available literally on every platform where you can purchase or stream music. So without any further delay, let's jump into it. This is Alicia from Don't Panic. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Enjoy.
In a studio apartment with no heat or electric on, asleep with a Bible between us, ignoring our problems until they're gone. Now someone has to take control. Or will this ever work? We'll never know. But still gets her hours slashed. Off the book, sweet talking actress. Why can't I see through the act? She is one to build a swallow, attend to with alcohol, and then call me in the morning as if you wake up at all. Now someone has take control.
right,
so
guys.
So who's credited as producer on that, Ted?
I'm not sure. I know Ted and I think it's like Ted and Don't Panic, like kind of in that way. I know that Ted is the one that is generally the brains behind the writing of the song, lyrically, everything along those lines. But it is still, like any band, a group effort to get the final product.
Right.
But they are recording down at Soundmind, so I don't know.
But do they have a producer guy?
I don't know. I need to ask him that. I need to ask him because Ted's produced a bunch of stuff on his on his own.
I think that they do because when I've seen stuff with Walter, maybe it depends on the band that's going in, but I mean Walter has done stuff as far as producing credits, but also when he was shooting videos, he was like talking to people, and he was talking about like how I think he made a comment of like, oh shit, a comment of how the one dude was a steady producer, like there a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure about nearby? That. Not nearby. There are paper towels in the kitchen. How bad is it? Oh, it's
not
pretty bad. It looks bad from this angle. I see a big puddle.
Spilling beer.
Oh, spilling shit. But yeah, no, that again, that was Don't Panic. You can go check them out on Instagram at Don't Panic Just Rock. Again, on every platform where you can find any music to download, you can find their music. And again, this album's being like slowly released over the course of the year.
Right.
And excited to see. Now we're only about a month away from the next song, so really excited to see what comes.
And have they said anything about their tour? Because I know he said that when he was on.
Yeah, nothing's really. Everything's still just on hold. Nobody really knows.
I think
the night we were supposed to go see them was the first night of the things being shut down.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah, because we went the Steve-O's Basement show.
Yeah, you guys hit me up.
Ted was supposed to play, and that was like the night where everybody started going like, hey, maybe we shouldn't go out. Like this is getting kind of serious. And then
that was the first thing that I had planned on doing that was canceled.
With the Canadians,
Yeah, the Canadians and the Brit, and all of them had to like leave. They had to cancel their tour and they had to leave. Yeah, but either way,
which sucks for them because that's probably a bunch of money.
I don't know how much bunch of money they're getting, but it was at least a bunch.
I'm saying
of exposure.
Bunch of money for them to come here and then have to go the fuck back home.
Yeah, who knows what they're making on the tour, but they spent a lot on the tour. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, at Don't Panic Just Rock on Instagram. Go check them out. And again, I'm pretty sure in the next month or so when they release, we'll be playing you the next single that they are releasing. Speaking of new singles, we alluded to it earlier. We are back.
Yeah.
To
feels good to be back.
We are back.
But this is a hell of a song
in
to start
Captalan.
with.
We really don't give ourselves too many breaks. Zach, Captalan was your brainchild. This is your baby. You created the world, and we have helped you flesh it out musically. Actually, if I could read the opening thing of the email that Zach sent us, if you don't mind,
we should put it out there so people can read.
It read so epic to me. I'm just going to read the first kind of the paragraph, and that'll help get you caught up on the lore.
Sure.
I highly recommend, and after the song we'll talk a little bit more about it. I highly recommend if you enjoy this, if you enjoy the idea behind what we are doing, go back again, check out Rubbish, the Garbage Man epic that is available on YouTube. One day we'll get things on iTunes and Spotify and all that, but you can go check out the 6 songs that set up Captalan for the story of Arthur and the Boar King. This is the second installment, and there's no Arthur. We are starting at chapter 1.
This is both before Arthur and after.
Yes.
Right.
There's some weird time trickery happening for sure. Now, here is the email, and this is how I read it. Last night, when I got home from work, and I sat down on the toilet, and I was taking a nice dump, I read it out loud to myself, because after reading one sentence, I was like, oh, I need to go back. So, Chapter 1, The Fall of Man. World War III took a long time to happen, although it felt like it was always around the corner. The world was in turmoil, but people were actively trying to save it, until they couldn't anymore. With the planet seemingly always on the edge, it took but a small nudge to send it tumbling down. That small nudge came in the form of an alien. Well, some would say alien, scientifically for the time. He, easier to call him, although he seemed almost genderless, was an extra-dimensional being
from a place
that came to be known as Nowhere. Perfect.
For the sake of our story, we will call him Simon, but he had many names and many titles, including, but not limited to, the Prince of Nowhere, the King of Chaos, the Dark One, the Shadow, and the Hands of the Gods. Hell yeah.
And then you go on in the rest of it to explain what the story that we wrote about today is. So we're back. We're kind of doing a Silmarillion approach to Captalan. We're going to try to tell other stories from within the world.
Right. Building out the world more, getting into the point of why Arthur was
why he was,
what it is,
why the world was the way it was when he got there, all of these things.
Sure.
So again, we're focusing on a time frame now that is, again, before and after Arthur, where this being named Simon, whether he was there all the time or whether he's an interdimensional being that can pop in whenever he wants, right. He has been kind of behind the wheel and pulling strings and pushing buttons and getting man to fight against man, get all mankind to go after each other, and basically get us to do our dirty work, or get us to do his dirty work for him and wipe us out. And he is this evil, huge. He is the Boar King's superior. So if you remember last year we talked about the Boar King, this is where all of that comes from. Now, just speaking specifically about this song and not further lore, because again we'll talk a little bit more about that after the song. What was your approach musically, Zach? You sent us again another required
listening.
I sent
you guys a required listening.
Yeah.
Right. I think we hit most of
all
those.
4 of them definitely are represented in one way or another in this song.
2 80s hair metal songs and a 90s death metal song, and then a Kvelertek song. It's hard to describe.
They're basically trying to do all of those things just modern.
If hair metal was if black metal was influenced by hair metal,
yes,
that's Kvelertek.
Yep.
Which, if you've never listened to them, please do yourself a favor and go listen to them. They're fucking fantastic.
And I got into death finally.
Yeah.
Like, I love death metal. I love extreme metal, but Death was one band that I just
never really.
I knew who they were. I knew what they did for the genre and the scene. I just never sat down and
gave it the time
and really put some time into it. And God damn, they're fucking good.
So that is where we're approaching. We were kind of trying to go with. We spent a lot of time on the keyboard the last couple of weeks, and we did pop punk before that. We did math rock before that, and we haven't really done a lot of riff-centric songs, especially guitar-based riff-centric songs. So you jumped in, and again, the bands like the hair metal, death metal, and Kvelertek, we really did mix them all together really, really well. The riff that you came up with was just super catchy right off the bat. You noodled around a little bit, came up with something, and it fucking worked. And then Justin, you jumped in, and let's just props to Justin for going into a room on the second floor of this house with no air conditioning on one of the hottest days of the year. We
did put the air conditioning in, but let me tell you,
we had to turn it off to get the.
Yeah, you can't have that humming in the background, you know.
By the time I was done, I mean, you didn't notice right away, but like as soon as I stood up, like my shirt was soaked.
You sat down next to me, and I looked, and the only dry parts of your pants were around your crotch.
Yes.
Like, because that was it.
Anything that was touching my legs or where I was sweating was
because you went in on the double bass. Both legs.
Oh, yeah. Now, as far as it all came together musically, again, all those influences were kind of what we were pulling on. Vocally, we're trying to tell a story, so I had to go with cleaner vocals for most of it, but then we did add 3 different vocalists in screams on this song. We were pressed for time. I was not getting one of the parts specifically, so then Justin was able to jump in and do his low growls, and then another part just needed to be faster, and I wasn't clicking on it.
I tried it too.
I hit that. I think I hit that with. I've been also me and Justin spent like 2 hours when I Just
Dimmu
listening
Borgir?
to Dimmu Borgir.
Okay.
Which
I sent
also-
I don't know if you watched it. I sent you that.
I forget.
That's symphonic.
I think I did, but I think I was
Them
very
playing
messed up
live
when
with
I
the
watched it.
symphony is in fucking insane. Whether you like that style of music or not, just do yourself a favor as well and watch that fucking live show.
Yeah.
At,
I
what is
forget
it?
where it's-
Whackin'?
No, it's not Vakin. It's somewhere else.
Whackin'? I said
Vakin.
Whackin'. Yes, it's
Vakin?
Vakin. No, I thought
Who's
it was Vakin,
Whackin'?
dude.
It is a W, but it's German, so it's
Vakin.
Vakin.
No, I thought that's where the live show was.
I don't remember.
I think that's where it was.
could have
Either
been.
way.
It could
All
have
right.
been.
Either way, it's a massive symphony that they're
Okay.
playing with. And
They
the
played
way
with the Prague Symphonic.
Ooh.
and the way everything just flows in and out. There's times where it's just a symphony playing like an interlude to songs. And
Yeah.
the band fucking leaves, and you know, like Zach said though, the drummer has to be fucking dead tired by the end of that fucking show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and if he was drumming in the room that you were drumming in, he probably would have died in that whole thing. But yeah, so we knocked out the song. Like, we really didn't start the song pretty much until about, like it was almost 6 o'clock till, like, we were really sitting down and working
Because
on the
when
song.
I got done with drums, I was like, holy fuck, did it take me that long to do that?
Yeah, it was like 7:30.
Almost 7:30, yeah.
And then we had a little bit of, like, rearranging and, like, editing to do it. And then I jumped in and did vocals in about a half an hour. And then again, as we already said, you had 45 minutes, which you stretched to an hour to get everything else done.
Yes.
So we have not heard anything that you did with bass. We've not heard anything you did with any additional guitar except for the bass riff that was playing throughout. And the mix and the master, you said, took 15 seconds. So this is an undertaking. How long of a song did we wind up with?
550.
550. So we're still not breaking any records. That's right around the time length that we were going with a lot of the rubbish songs. So that really
That's
works.
around a good time for metal.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. That's a shorter
I
metal
like
song.
short songs, but when I want some metal to sink my teeth into, that 5 to 7 minutes is like
I
perfect.
really hope you don't have fillings when you're doing that. Really sinking your.
I got tons of fillings.
You got tons of fillings. All right, guys. So just under 6 minutes. This is our latest Brunch Weekly original single.
The album is called Old Trash.
Old Trash.
Yes.
And this song is called Chapter 1, The Fall of Man.
Yes.
And again, we introduce the shadow, the dark one, the hand of the gods, Simon. Here we go for our first of 6 and our second installment in our Captalan series. Here's The Fall of Man.
Yep.
Enjoy. He has always been here, the shadow in plain sight, into the ears of men. The king of chaos wields his might, turning brother on brother, his words directing the fight. Till all the world's reduced to rubble.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Again, that is The Fall of Man. Holy shit with the fucking guitar solos, man. That's fucking shredded there. That is all over the place. Fucking beautiful.
That riff is so much fun, too.
It is
it's
really
super catchy.
Really fucking
And that's what
catchy.
Kvelertak and a lot of the bands that we were trying to do, they sort of do that. They pick a riff, and like you were talking about, they're like, oh, we can keep doing this. We can alter it a little bit, but we can keep playing it. We can change, like the drums change, the bass may change, but the guitarists are still basically playing
that riff.
Same riff because it's so catchy and it can be implemented in the background and you're hearing.
Yeah.
Almost like how we originally did, or how you put together the first, or how you put together Rubbish, where we had overlying themes that would kind of sprinkle in and out of songs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this I'm really excited for the next couple of weeks to explore more into Captalan. And I did kind of want to talk, like, we don't have set exact plans.
Right.
But again, the story that we explored last year was of Arthur being magically transported after touching a golden artifact, which was a karate trophy.
He was a trash man.
I don't remember how much we spoke about it on the show last year about the setting of Captalan and like what Captalan is, and we're gonna try to explore more into that. I don't know how much we really want to give away on that front because I don't really remember what we really discussed last year on it, but we're doing the Silmarillion approach. We're trying to expand again the background stories and kind of flesh out. And to me, what I said while we were recording is, to me, this song specifically, it feels to me that this is a story that when Arthur went back to his time, our time, like he's from our current time period, when he went back and he was probably like either trying to tell people about it, like being Dorothy at the end of Wizard of Oz, like, oh, you were there and all that type of shit.
Well, this is sort of like a New Hope.
Tell people,
because you're in the way that you pretty much are introduced to Darth Vader almost right away. So you're getting, you are getting the I don't want to say the overall villain because you are still writing and going through, but we are now introducing an overall.
He is the big baddie that we're.
It doesn't mean that there's
with.
Not somebody else behind him.
True,
but he is basically the villain we're introducing. Now, if we had done this first and then Captalan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or got into Rubbish more, it would.
In that way, Simon is the villain behind Rubbish. Even though he's not mentioned at all, you have no idea that he was there. Right. He is the one behind the scenes.
Yeah, and
pulling the strings, summoning the demons.
And last year we had discussed at the end of it that our hopes were to explore more, and that's what we're doing now. We're exploring more. But then down the line, to be able to interpret this into whether it be a graphic novel or a book or a story in some way and really flesh it out. So I like the idea, as they did with like The Hobbit, where they pick stories from the history of Middle Earth and they mention them even though it's never actually in The Hobbit itself. So you can take things from this and put them into the story if you filmed Rubbish as its epic.
It's almost how I thought Game of Thrones was going to end.
With going backwards.
No, with more or less that it's reset? No. That's where I thought more or less that fuck, what's his name?
Snow. Jon Snow.
No.
Tyrion.
No, his Snow's best friend.
Yeah. Oh. Sam.
Sam. Yeah. Sam.
What's the fat one called? Sam. It's always Sam.
Yeah. Well, I immediately when I was like, oh, it's Sam, and I was like, no, it's Sam Wise. So that's not right. You know what I mean?
Sam Well and Sam Wise. Yeah.
So the way I thought, or one of the things that we had talked about, at least amongst us, was that it's going to end with him closing a book.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was going to end with him closing a book, putting it on a shelf, and it would say "Song of Ice and Fire." Yes. And then he would walk away, and it was him telling us. I really wish that was.
That would have been a great way to end.
Yeah. And thinking back a year on now, I'm still okay with the way it ended. It's just whatever.
I have not gone back and watched it, but I will.
I'm kind of happy it ended at this point.
Yeah.
I was dedicating way too much of my time and energy into thinking about theories about Game of Thrones.
Way too much of my brain. Going on about.
Yeah, like this is gonna happen, and they're gonna
with everyone this back. Too.
Everybody.
It was you excessive. Guys and everyone else. And
we had a Sunday night crew at the bar that would
Yeah.
come in before the show. Everybody would hang out. They would all talk about it, and then they would leave. And I had a rule that they were not allowed back in the bar for the rest of the night because I wasn't able to watch it until I got home.
Right.
And then I was going home and watching an hour and a half.
You would watch it walking home.
I would watch it when I was living by the bar. I would literally have it on my phone, and I would be like leaving, like while I'm cleaning up, I'm like watching it. Then I'm like, all right, I gotta pause it for a second, and I would watch it like that, and then the next morning I would wake up and watch it all over again on like the actual TV.
Right.
But there were certain nights where I was like, I just liked being out in the cold watching this. It was the cold. It was the cold, like the battle. The Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
I sat in the cold watching it on my phone that is smaller than the phone I have now, and I was like, whoa, and I watched the whole thing like that. Which, hey, when you hold a screen this close, it's a big screen.
Yeah, that's why they have those VR goggles for them. Man. Just drop your phone
that's why I'm
going to
be extra blind later in life, is because I watch shows like that.
I got glasses for you. You're good.
Well, again, we're really excited to dive more into this, and I hope you guys enjoyed the single. And
can I bring up one more thing?
Yeah.
Without going into a lot of things, I think in this set of stories, you kind of want to talk about how the dwarves became the dwarves.
Yes, we're gonna definitely go into.
So we're gonna visit the dwarves.
Where the dwarves came from, how that happened.
Yeah,
Right.
and a little bit of alluding to it in the lyrics here, if you pay attention, to the hills we run and all of that part.
Yes.
That is also lyrically just kind of a little homage.
Yeah.
To Run for the Hills.
Right.
Because we were going with some metal on there, you know.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I immediately wrote "Run for the Hills." I'm like, yeah, you can't write "Run for the Hills." That's how I gotta sing it, right?
Yeah.
Run for the hills, run for the hills. I was trying to find it, and then I was like, yeah, you gotta just to the hills. We will run.
One last thing, kind of
Yes.
off topic. We
Yes.
watched it today, and if you haven't, in the first episode of Black Mirror,
the new Black Mirror season,
they
Miley
do something
Cyrus,
really, really awesome
fucking
musically.
great.
And they use
Nine Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails,
Yeah,
but then they do a PC pop version where it's "I'm going to get what I deserve."
Yeah.
And it's completely politically correct.
Yeah. They just whitewash it, basically. They
But
just make it. They
keep
make
watching
it
the
pretty.
episode because there's a great payoff at the end
Yeah,
of it.
they musically, that episode with Miley is really great. She does a phenomenal job acting in it.
Yeah.
Her voice acting in it as well, because she plays a pop sensation known as Ashley O, and then they're releasing these little Ashley 2 dolls, which basically have her wig on them, and other than that, they're just the Eve.
Yeah,
thing
it's like
from
an
WALL-E.
Eve from WALL-E, but like an iPhone type of deal.
But yeah, it's like having
Or
a little
a
like a
Google.
little pet thing to talk to, you know, like you can chit chat and they learn things about you and blah blah blah. But then it's Black Mirror, so things just get kind of weird and fucked
Yeah.
up. We watched 2 episodes of Black Mirror. We watched that one, and then we watched one with Anthony Mackie. That one
I enjoyed
might
both
be-
episodes. It's very weird. It's very
it is
strange.
such a strange episode, but it is so well put together, and it goes
And the
places
ending
that
was
you
great.
do not think it's going to go.
And the ending is so
immediately.
good.
Yeah, and then right up to the end. So definitely go check
That's
out
one where the two guys bang each other in virtual reality.
in a video
Where they're
game.
playing, it's like a Street Fighter video game.
Yeah.
They don't fight. They just end up.
They fight
fucking,
like once or
basically.
twice, and then there's like a weird, awkward kiss, and then they're like, "Well, what the fuck?" And they get out, and then they just can't stop thinking about it,
Yeah.
and they keep going back in. Anthony Mackie's character's married, has a wife with a kid,
And they're
and
trying
trying
for
to
a
have
second.
another kid, and all this stuff, and then he just starts becoming detached because he just can't get out of his head about how great it is fucking his best friend in a video game.
It's very
it is
weird.
So
It's
fucking
very weird.
bizarre. It's a
But watch it.
it's a great show to watch with your best friend. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say that. Me and Justin held hands throughout
Oh, that's
the
sweet.
entire thing. And
Yeah, I
gotta
almost set
tell
up
you, I
the
gotta tell
VR.
you,
I'm just saying.
it is a really big penis.
Oh, you
It's
played
a
VR
real-
for the first time?
They're greasy
I
in his
did.
pants.
I did. I tried the VR.
Yeah.
Ooh, what'd you do? What'd you play?
Rick brought
Walking on a
over.
ledge.
For the PS. I mean, and the PS4's VR is probably the weakest out of them, but you can still have a good experience. Like
Okay.
it is still very
Well, he
enjoyable.
had the gun. It's a gun, a two-handed gun, and you play the game, and you just—it's like real life.
Yeah.
You have to bring it to your face. You have
Yep.
to look through the scope. It is fucking.
Do you think
insane.
something like that would help a person that doesn't know hunting or something like that, or using a gun in like just like the mental
Probably if it
approach
was
to
set
it
up
at least?
correctly. If
Yeah,
it was set
okay.
up, if a program was set up in
What
the
were you
sense-
shooting in this game? Were you shooting just like
Aliens.
aliens? Okay. Has anybody done a VR Area 51, that old arcade game? Because
It's sort of- that's basically what it
just something
was.
pops up. Don't shoot that one. Shoot that one.
That's sort of what it was.
Okay, I
sort
would
of.
get into that.
But then
Oh
the
my
first
God.
one you started on, and that, what I was saying with the motion controllers is, the first game you played was a rail shooter, which the game is great. But what the motion controllers do is it allows you to use both hands.
Yeah.
So you were using a controller, so you had to like swing the whole controller and both arms are moving.
Yeah.
But with that, you could aim 2 different ways and be shooting.
Damn.
The VR is just trippy in the sense that how much your brain thinks.
The equilibrium of it
Yes.
all, right? Like they show those videos of the guys
I'm not gonna
walking
lie.
a plank, and they're like, "Ugh, like I
When
don't want to
sent
walk
it
this
to you
plank."
guys, I was underwhelmed because I think I had too high hopes.
That's the
of
problem.
Well,
I've
here's
always
the
had
thing.
with most things like this is that I have had I've always stood by the fact that I am not bad at video games. Video games haven't caught up to my expectation
Sure.
of what they should be. Because when I was a kid and I played Nintendo, what did I do? I went like that to try to get everything to jump.
Sure.
And now you do that to get everything to jump. I'm just 20 years ahead of
Well,
things.
here's the thing.
And by the time they
I will
get it right,
set
I'm going
up.
to be too old to even think.
I do have to set up the VR for the Vive. And while it's not the most powerful anymore,
Yeah.
it was the big dog when it first came out.
Okay.
The Valve Index is the big one, and the controllers are better, and they are making improvements. The problem with VR is it's so expensive. Like, you're gonna drop $1,000 on a Valve Index to play some games.
And again, like
Probably
most
not.
technology, you want to wait till again the second or
with
third
a PC,
generation.
the way that they manipulate the programs and everything, you will literally feel like you are, like, if a wall is extending behind you, you will feel yourself like
You'll feel
small.
something.
You will feel small compared to what that is.
My problem with I tried the PSVR was the thing fit my head not well.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I could see the plastic around the thing. So like when
because
people
it's a one size fit all type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
For a.
So you're not totally immersed in it. There's light coming in.
It was close, but I wasn't as immersed as I.
Well, to put into perspective, to buy PSVR when it came out brand new was $450, and that got you a camera because you need the Eye, need the PlayStation Eye, which is a camera for tracking, and then it came with 2 motion controllers. For when the Valve Index or the HTC Vive when that first one came out, it was $899. I mean, I obviously got it through trading from buying something from the Oculus from the pawn shop, but still, even when the Oculus came out, that was a $700 unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now the Valve Index is putting out because in the headset it's 2 screens. Now they're putting out 4K screens, and all that does is just like 3D where it shudders. So the higher resolution that you can get and the better frame rates that you can get and the better the technology, the more you're going to be immersed. And it's not going to look as pixelated. Don't get me wrong, it still looks pixelated.
My problem was that the headset just didn't fit my big bowling ball of a head well.
So it won't fit mine then.
It fit well enough.
Sure.
But to get the like binoculars, you know what I mean, to get the distance right and everything for my perfect
now, could you
eyes.
electrical tape it out or anything like that?
No.
Like, could you do anything that would help?
inside.
I can see the inside of the.
Because what it does is it slopes in. It's like it's like a headband, and the adjustableness is, it's not very. I mean, it's a one size fit all, just like the others. Yes. But at least on that headset,
fucking head.
But at least on that headset, I have other
what is
straps
your hat
that
size?
I can.
Have you ever gotten a fitted hat?
Yeah, it's like. It's not as big as Justin's. Mine is usually like.
I was gonna say because that's my hat, my old hat that he's wearing. That hat fits my head.
What is that? I think I'm a
7 5/8.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. I am 7 5/8.
Yeah, it's a 7 5/8.
Yeah.
I haven't really worn fitted hats in a long time because ponytail.
Yeah,
right.
No, true. Right. Yeah, no, I get that.
But I will reset up the VR.
To get that better, but
and,
I get it.
I mean, I'm just glad that you finally got to see it. Like,
yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot.
I mean, you've tried it before.
I tried
the Psychonauts one.
Yeah.
Where we're doing, but having it out there.
I really want to
the gun shit.
Do the gun one.
So
yeah.
Oh yeah. They have a lot of really cool stuff.
Cool.
There's a lot of really awesome games, and a lot of the stuff you can find for free. It's a lot of small developers and shit that you can find.
Now, how long do you think at where they are now? And I know this is VR technology is something that's been slowly, like the 80s and 90s, they were like trying to push it. How long do you think we are from right now to the point where you could play a fighting game, an actual fighting game,
like they did in Black Mirror?
Like in Black Mirror, but I always think of the islands where they're like fighting in opposite sides of the room.
A long
Something
time.
like that. A long time. Then how
we're gonna see augmented reality before we do, and Microsoft is really pushing it. And
augmented reality is way more useful.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I mean, just in the sense that if you can go to a Broadway play or a movie or be in your house, let's just say, and keep in mind that with this technology, if it's in your house, right? Imagine you buy a PC and it's like. Or the new Xbox, for example. Yeah. You buy the new Xbox and they're like, oh, it's VR or it's augmented reality capable. You can watch movies and it'll interact with the things that are in your house.
In the show Upload, the girl's watching 50 First Dates and she's acting as the Drew Barrymore character in the movie.
That's how it would be.
That role. Yeah,
but you have to figure it's going to scan your house, so are you going to be comfortable with it scanning your house? But the payoff would be is how crazy would it be to have like a Ring type of movie where the thing starts crawling down your fucking stairs, and that's what they're really trying to push. Like Microsoft is trying to
the horror
really
side
put
of
it,
things is going to be the worst.
Really
Any
put it in the
haunted house
sense
thing, I'm going
of
to be crying like a baby.
like or like going to a Broadway play where they could have other imagery going on while the performers are doing their thing.
Yeah.
So instead of having just like a backdrop and using your imagination, they can fill in the gaps with technology.
Hell yeah.
And not only that, but I mean, they're really pushing augmented reality on phones where they're doing Minecraft
now, is
Global,
porn
I think it is.
augmented reality at all? Is porn gotten behind it?
Porn is in VR.
They're in the VR. So would that mean that this is the end of the porn streak of picking the future?
No.
Do you think that VR will pull through?
No, it's just that
Because
there's enthusiasts that want to do that. There's horror movies that are in VR.
In VR. After watching that thing,
dude, teledildonics.
What?
Teledildonics.
A dildonics.
Have you ever heard of
Japan has been doing virtual.
I'm assuming dildonix is the way it's spelled.
Teledildonics was a U.S. patent in the 70s before there was internet.
Okay.
Guy patented. It was called his company. Was
you say that word so much easier than I can.
Patented.
I can't do it. Patented. Pantsed.
Mike Patton.
Anyway, the dude patented the term teledildonics.
Was it so that you could call your phone hooked to a dildo?
Well, you could hook sex devices up, and there was no internet at this point. So this guy was making this all up off the top of his head. He patented that it was sex toys connected through telephone lines where you could have virtual sex with people. And that was in the 70s, and this dude came up with it. He's like,
Jesus.
Well, now
that's going to be a thing.
There are sex toys now that you can attach to your phone so that when you're away from your significant other, you can control the dildo or whatever the fuck they're using.
Yeah, dude,
there's that shit. Also in Japan,
that is
there
a Black
are
Mirror episode right there.
In Japan,
the
there are places
own.
that people go to, wear suits, put on virtual reality, and there's sensors all over the fucking place. It's been going on for a long time, man. But as far as that goes, I mean, VR is such an enthusiast thing. It's
yeah. And again, the expense of it, if you want to get something.
Well, you have not only that, but you can't just buy any computer for it. You have to have a good video card, good processor. You're putting in money. You're spending, I don't know, at least $2-3 grand to do it.
To just get set up to do it.
To start now to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, if the technology comes down,
I will play along as long as somebody else has it. Sure. I don't think I will ever be somebody that buys my own VR.
See, that's how I feel too. It was awesome.
Things.
And it was cool that someone I knew had one that I could try.
And by things, I do mean things. I want to fuck a chair.
It was super awesome.
And it'd be good.
I don't see. I've already got too many fucking expensive hobbies.
Sure. Yeah.
Fucking. Oh, I've got way too many expensive hobbies.
It's the same thing he said when I said I was going golfing. He was like, that's cool. I never liked golfing. I can't waste more time and money on something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but I mean,
yeah, it's pricey.
But I mean, like, I got it because I got a good deal on it.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm going to have it just because I might be like one day, I'll set it up. But I mean, you've played it once, but how long have I had it here?
It's a similar cost.
Yeah.
To if you're really into, if you're like an average golfer.
Yeah.
Like to get new clubs and everything.
Into golfing.
Yeah.
Sure.
What they spend a year on golfing is what some VR enthusiasts spend.
Sure.
And it's what I put into the fucking stupid cheek.
I mean, they also have
every month.
I mean, there's endless possibilities. They have treadmills that you hook into, and it's just a circular treadmill that you can walk around and do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Well, that was the thing that they did on Community. They even brought that in on Community at one point. All right. Okay, well, guys, every week we like to do a little crossover promotion with our Brother Sister Love podcast. Let me ask you a question. A show where Anthony DeAngelis asks Eric and the Grega Man a random question. They were off this week, but they did have one while we were off. So we're going to jump into that one. Let's hit it, Justin.
All right.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Alrighty. Me Ask You a Question from Let Me Ask You a Question. Again, they always drop, well, usually we drop episodes every Monday, the Moot Monday drop. You got the Derek D Dozen, and you've got us, and Let Me Ask You a Question.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed.
And I believe there might be another show happening at some point soon. I feel like I heard a rumor about that. But their question...
A new show?
That's why I feel like somebody's adding another show, but I'm not 100% sure. I might have just had a dream about that. Because I do that sometimes, where I have a dream, and then, you wake up, and you just go, oh, that was a conversation I had with somebody. And then you're like...
I've been having wild dreams because of the heat.
Oh,
Last night I had a dream I was snowboarding with kids I went to church with when I was real young.
Oh.
But we weren't snowboarding. We had snowboards on a big grassy hill covered in dog shit.
That's a good. I think you should just do that.
Yeah.
Just cover a big grassy hill.
See who makes it down. Just don't cut yourself.
But it was with
shit.
church kids from church when I was 7.
Yeah, like why? Like, did I see a picture today? Or
I
something?
haven't seen these people in a very long time.
Actually, I just came up with a game that you can play. You take your the thing you wanted to do where you were wearing a see-through diaper.
Yeah.
But the first person to make it down the hill with a full
you have to
pants load
get
of shit.
as much shit as you can.
Yeah.
So you have to slide down.
It's like that cheat, going after
backwards.
the cheese.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where they eat. You ever
collect
watched
the
that?
shit.
Collect the shit.
Those guys eat shit.
Oh, the cheese hill.
Yeah.
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 Those
But
guys are
whoever
great.
shits the most.
Yeah.
While you're falling down. All right.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll look in the church
You can do the brown mile. You
I'm
just
sure I
make it
can
like
find
a
them.
run. You don't even have to fall
I'll
down
call
a
my
hill.
mom.
All right.
Up, dude.
Well, this latest episode of Let Me Ask You a Question. This is the question. Really easy one, I think, to answer. But we'll see what you guys think.
Okay. All right.
If the Mona Lisa or some other famous piece of artwork, or maybe not even a famous piece of artwork, if any piece of artwork was on display and somebody prominent was executed right in front of that, and blood, brain, whatever else was then sprayed on to that painting,
Okay.
does that improve or hurt the price of that painting? Does it go up? Does it go down? Does it not change? Now, the guys did address this, and they said, our buddy Nick from high school was on the show, and he was like, well, the Mona Lisa is a bad example, basically, because they have people that clean that every single day.
Sure.
They go in and they maintain that. So if something got on it, if some kid sneezed
it was pretty
on
much
it, an alarm would go off. They would take they would clean it up.
It is in France. It's at the Louvre. So
Yeah.
they do execute people.
Yeah. But if it was not the Mona Lisa specifically, if it was just a painting, right?
So you're at an art show.
You're at an art show. Maybe the art exhibit of a new guy, a new gal that's coming up. You're in Soho.
Sure.
Somebody's there, and some senator or something is in there, and some crazy person goes after the senator and executes the person, kills the person. The person dies,
Sure.
and this painting is
covered
to the point where you might be able to repair it, but most likely
Okay.
crime scene, everything stay, nothing move, and then that blood sits on that painting for at least a couple of hours before they can get it to somebody, and then it stays that way and just keeps the paint on, or keeps the blood on it.
I feel like
Does it go up or down in price?
I feel like you're gonna find somebody, or they're gonna at least try and market it.
Yeah.
Somebody,
It's a
there's
new
a collector.
niche market,
There's a
yeah.
collector for every weird thing, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to almost be like Curb Your Enthusiasm, the
Okay.
episode where Larry David goes over to his, secretary's house,
Okay.
and has to go to the bathroom, and he's taking pills that makes him piss like with force.
Okay.
And they have a picture of Jesus on the wall,
And it sprays up.
but it looks like a tear. And the mother goes in and starts freaking out, thinking that
Jesus is crying.
Yes, I feel like
Okay.
it falls within the lines of that. You know what I
All
mean?
right.
I don't know.
Certain people. So you think certain people would
well,
pay
do
more
they
for
not?
it?
Do they not market it and just try to sell it as some crazy painting?
Maybe that's I'm
You know
not
what
sure.
I mean?
I think that you could very well take that approach of being like, hey, this was this is a new up and coming painter. This was a masterpiece of theirs, and it got ruined. And then people would be like, okay, I think the question that they kind of got more into that I would like to explore a little bit is, do you think it would? How much would it change based on who the person was?
I think it would definitely change on who the person
so
is. If it's somebody famous, I mean, look at it, dude.
Loved around the world.
Look at it. When Obama came to Pennsylvania, they were trying to sell the fucking pieces of pancakes that weren't eaten on eBay.
Yeah.
I think they
Did
sold.
That work?
I think they sold.
They sold?
I think yeah. It was like
that's a little disgusting
like
and amazing
$4,000 or some shit like that. So I mean, yes, you can find collectors.
Yeah.
If it's somebody famous, for sure.
Okay. Now, Zach, if you were able to buy a painting that had blood all over it, who would be the person that you would want?
I would want a Da Vinci painting where Leonardo DiCaprio blew out in front. No, I'm just kidding. I am not
an art guy. You don't like art?
I dropped out of art school.
I mean, most of the art in this house is.
While I appreciate fine art, and I am definitely a fan of it.
Yeah.
For the price you pay for the original, I could just buy a fucking poster
and get the same aesthetic feel of
maybe because I grew up in the digital age.
Sure.
And I am a musician, so I make a song and I email it to someone.
Yeah.
An original to me is not anything that
to be coveted. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
It's not. Right. So, if it was just a fucking print of it, I think it would be cool.
Okay.
A print of something
what
that happened.
What if it was a print with blood? Would you pay extra?
Yeah. Okay. How about that? Yeah. If it was a print
with
of the Mona Lisa
blood?
with real blood added to it, does that make the print go up in price?
Well, I mean, also think about it. What was it?
A pile of prints. They all got blood on the side of them.
Who did that? Was that the Flaming Lips and Kiss who put blood into their records?
Kiss did, yeah.
Real blood?
Real blood. They took vials of blood and put it into the pressing.
Into the vinyl.
And I think
I
think the Flaming Lips either did the same thing or gave a vial of blood that you couldn't open. Like it was not able to be opened, but it was like blood that you got with a collector's edition.
Whose blood?
Some of the band members. Well, the Kiss one was the band members, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like that would probably slowly eat away at the container it was in.
Yeah.
That blood.
Well, no, they bled into the liquid vinyl before it was pressed.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual vinyl is made of blood.
The vinyl has Kiss's
So they basically just went up and did a brothers squeezed.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of weird. Would you buy a record that was made out of somebody's cum?
It depends whose cum it was.
All right. If it was LL Cool J re-releasing his first
Mama
album,
Said it's just a single of Mama Said Knock You Out.
And
it's got his cum
and it's made with his cum, and it's all white vinyl, white label, everything. Would you buy that?
No.
No.
Maybe.
Anybody's
probably.
cum. Anybody's cum. Would you lick it?
I would probably be more
See if
inclined
it tastes different.
to keep now this would be cool if I had a shelf of vials of blood of all my friends.
Oh,
if
why?
I got I think that would be
in
cooler
case anything
to me
ever happens
than people I didn't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like here, and here's this, and
all right.
here's my wall of
all right,
blood.
So final question on this subject then. If there was a print of the Mona Lisa with my blood on it, would it be more valuable to you after I get executed at the end of this episode?
You don't have to be... Yeah, well,
If this has my blood on it, if the Kyle Mogo Won't Shut Up original artwork were to have my blood on it...
That's a print.
That's not a print.
It's digital artwork.
No, it's not.
No, that's hand-drawn, and so is that. These are both the hand-drawn versions.
Both that?
Yeah, I asked for hand-drawn versions of both of them from them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought they were prints.
No, there's really good artwork.
Yeah, well, if you get your blood and shit and cum all over it...
All right.
I don't want it. I really don't want it anymore. You can take
so
it
the Flaming Lips did do this. In 2012, for Record Store Day, they released a 4-track vinyl called The Flaming Lips and Heady Fuens. And it was a bunch of different people on this actual...
Is it the Miley Cyrus's on that one or no?
Well, Nick Cave, Tame Impala, but they donated $25,000 from this record. But you can definitely see. I think the blood moves around in it when you're playing
weird.
it.
That's so fucking
weird.
weird.
This is what it looks like.
And weird. That is really weird.
Bon Iver, Kesha, My Morning Jacket, Coldplay.
Nice.
Sean Lennon.
Fuck. All right.
A lot of people were on
It's everyone's blood, or it's just
I think it's just
blood?
theirs.
Just their blood. Well, then I guess
just
that kind of answers partially the question. That has actual blood in it, and it makes it more valuable than if they just printed a regular record.
Right.
So at least it
I
works.
mean, it was a gimmick.
I mean,
it was probably worth more.
Blood is worth
charging
money. The same
That's
way
true.
that gold and silver are worth money.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It's a precious commodity. And
Oh, Yoko
Yeah,
Ono
there's
was
only-
actually on this too.
There's only so.
Oh, wow.
Say
I
her
mean,
son
now-
was on it, so that makes sense that they were both on it together. That's pretty family event there. You know,
Yoko-
a bloody family event.
Yeah.
Yoko Ono. Have you ever really listened to Yoko
Yeah,
Ono?
I've listened.
God,
It's
yeah.
not good. It's
Not a
not good.
fan. I'm not a
It's
fan.
not good.
People
and most
are.
things that
If you
Lennon
like it,
did
whatever.
in the last 8 years of his life, I'm not really a huge.
He's my
huge
least
fan of.
favorite Beatle.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
My
For
least
sure.
favorite.
Yep, I would say that because at least Ringo Starr had a good film career.
Ringo's my favorite.
Ringo is your favorite,
To me,
which is
it's
funny.
Ringo, Paul, George, John.
See, for me, it's weird because it's kind of a tie at one. So it's really like one would be Paul, two would be George, but they're very close,
Right.
and then Ringo, and then
I just
John.
think Ringo is
Who would you
so
rather
much
hang out
cooler.
with?
I'd
Ringo.
rather hang out with George Harrison.
Yeah. Exactly.
1980s George Harrison, I'd rather hang out with.
See, I agree.
Any era, I would do that one. Or 70s. I would go Guitar Gently
I'd hang
Beats
out with
era.
Ringo right now. He's
Because
so
you know that,
cool.
but that's a twofer. I'm getting Jeff Lynne because he's guaranteed to be
True.
there.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Although I could get Jeff Lynne right now, it's just not as exciting without George Harrison. But Ringo would be, I think, the most enjoyable person to hang out with regularly.
Sure.
If I had one day to hang out with one of them, George Harrison immediately, hands down. Paul McCartney and I
He just
share the
seems
same
like-
birthday, so I feel like that also, again, he would be
I
second
don't know.
on that
At this
one.
point in life, I feel like McCartney would just be a stuck-up fucking asshole.
Maybe, but I
Maybe.
mean, he seems. I mean, he's either a really great actor, which obviously he's been in front of the camera in front of people his entire life, so he probably is.
if that is
If that is Paul McCartney,
If that is
Yeah.
Paul
Paul is
McCartney.
dead.
Paul is dead.
he's barefoot on that fucking album cover, and that's what that meant. He be dead. He be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, before we go off on further tangents, I just want to say a big thank you to Don't Panic for letting us play that single once again. Go check out Alicia. Find it anywhere you find your music.
Yes.
And a big thank you to the guys over at Moot.tv, EJ5000, Gregaman, and Anthony. Go check out the Derek D. Dozen. Let me ask you a question, dropping every Monday alongside our episodes on the Moot Monday Drop. As always, a big thank you to Mr. Justin Olimpado for getting this all
man.
together. Thank you, thank
Yeah, I'm
you.
gonna eat some Chinese in a second.
Yeah, I ate mine. I finished mine before we went live. I've been kind of dealing with a little bit of heartburn from the General Sow. General Sow is haunting me.
Damn.
And as always, a big ups to Zachary.
Check out my new company, StroudsburgTeledildonics.org.
Stormin. He'll fuck you from far away if you let him. That's
Just
basically what he's doing
up.
there.
Hook your landline up.
Yeah,
to your
hook your
dildo.
landline up to your
What you do?
dildo, and Zach will come over and
call
fuck
me,
you.
and then shove your phone in your ass,
And then
and
I'll
I
call
will
you
just
back.
scream through the phone.
Make sure you keep your phone on vibrate.
Those are some good vibrations there. Those are some real good
I'm
vibrations.
picking up Teledildonic.
And you don't even
Alright.
have to scream. You could just have them shove it up their ass, and
do
you
it.
call.
It'll be good
and they
for
just
'em.
keep it on
It'll be good for 'em.
vibrate.
Send your butt plugs to 123justinsucks.com.
Yeah, that's now a website. 123justinsucks.com might actually be a website.
Yeah, just put your
may
used butt plug in an envelope. Right, 123justinsucks.com.
Put it in the
Put
mail.
it in the mailbox.
We'll get it.
and you will get in a fight with your mail person.
Yeah, he won't like you. Especially if you put it in your own mailbox and don't drop it somewhere. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in live. Everybody for tuning in the future. We will be back next week with a very, very special edition of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. We were going to have him on, and then quarantine happened. But it is happening live next week. We will have one-man show.
Yeah.
Dave Beecher, Dave Shady
I'm actually
himself
excited to talk to him
will
about
be
who
here.
he's working with
I
and
know.
what the details
And he
that actually
asked
exist.
if we could FaceTime or Zoom the guy in on the show.
All right,
and
yeah.
I was like, we're going to spend all the time talking to him about his famous father. So, you don't even know who it is. Awesome. We'll leave it on that.
Really?
And we'll tell him off the air. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Thank you so much for tuning in. For Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, I'm Kyle Mocha.
Later.
Peace.
Fuck you.
Fuck the fans.
Mood.tv.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be sad.